Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be going over every single undrafted free agent signing that the Commanders have made so far, and we'll go into more detail about a few names that stand out. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content on the road to 7,500 subscribers, about 100 away, so please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications. It really does help out the channel. And go ahead and follow the Twitter. Link is right in the description. Now let's get right into the video. Also guys, go ahead and comment down what has been your favorite undrafted free agent signing so far. So first, let's go ahead and list out all the names of the players that they've signed, and then we'll get into detail about a few of them. So they signed tight end Curtis Hodges out of Arizona State. I think there was a typo here. Linebacker Fraud Gardner, talked about him and Drew White in another video, two linebackers that have a chance to make the team. Offensive tackle Tyrese Robinson out of Oklahoma. Wide receiver Kyrick McGowan out of Georgia Tech. Quarterback Cole Kelley out of Louisiana. Wide receiver Jaquez Ezzard out of Sam Houston State. Drew White, Trey Walker out of Idaho, Deontay Wyatt out of Western, and we didn't sign him, I don't think, but he has a rookie minicamp invite. And then the reports, Armani Rogers out of Ohio, I don't think it was Ohio State, cornerback Josh Drayden out of California, and safety Devontae Cross out of UVA. And there's a couple more as well I'm trying to find out. Michigan State football defensive end Jacob Panasiewicz, sorry, I know I'm mispronouncing it. Let's see, and then quarterback Josh Drayden, and let's see, any other names, and Devin Taylor out of Bowling Green. So a lot of different names out there, and there's probably a couple that I missed, but there's just so many, names out there. Because the thing that's crazy is when Ron Rivera first got here, I think they signed like 3 or 4, maybe 5 undrafted free agents. It was, Thaddeus Moss, I think Steven Montez, Isaiah Wright, and like 1 or 2 other guys. Last year, it was just Jarrett Patterson. And then this year, I mean, it's like 12, 13, 14 guys. It's insane. And as a combination of, having an extra, this year, last year, the players got an extra year of eligibility because of the pandemic. So this year, there's more players in the draft class. So there's a lot of guys that these undrafted free agents, a lot of them in earlier years would have probably been 7th round picks, maybe 6th round picks, but this year they're undrafted free agents, so it's unlucky for them, but good for these teams. And also Washington only had like 65 guys on the roster, and I think you need around 90 guys, or you can have around 90 guys on the roster up until like the second preseason game. So they needed bodies on the roster anyways, and there's more talent in these undrafted free agent pools. So that's why they're signing so many more than they have in the last couple years under Ron Rivera. So now let's get into some names that stand out to me. Okay, so first name that kind of intrigues me is linebacker Trey Walker out of Idaho. You know why? Because he's a linebacker. And what do we need? Linebackers, and he has a chance to make this team as a linebacker. He's about 6'1", 240 pounds. And just to let you guys know, a lot of these undrafted free agents, it's very hard to find information about them. I can't find a single draft profile for any of them. Not sure why. I think maybe they hide them after the draft is over for some of them, because I can't find it for any of them. But you guys can see he's kind of a, somewhat of a bigger guy, 6'1", 240 pounds, and he's going to be competing with Fraud Gardner and Drew White for that last linebacker spot, because they still probably will sign some guys as well. So, it's not like he's playing terrible competition, not playing good competition, but, Oregon State, not great, but, they're playing some solid teams in there, and he had over 100 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss. The stats are kind of hard to read, had a forced fumble, so, could compete for that last linebacker spot. Not sure if he can play special teams or not, but him and Fraud Gardner and Drew White, one of those guys likely will make the team, because the linebacker group for us is very, very weak. You got Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb. Those guys are locks to make the team. Same thing with, very likely Khaleke Hudson, and then, David Mayo. those guys are probably going to make the team unless something changes, and they'll probably sign another guy. Who knows? The linebacking room is not strong, so these guys have a chance to make it for sure, but they got to show more than just special teams, because we have some guys already on the team that can play special teams at the linebacker position at a high level, and David Mayo, Jared Norris, and Jordan Kay. You guys can read some more information right here about him. Led the Big Sky with 14 tackles per game. So, he gets tackles. That's what you need in a linebacker. Another guy, this is probably the most intriguing guy for me, Jaquez Ezzard played at Howard and caught 74 passes for 1,959 yards and 20 touchdowns. 26.5 yards per reception is absolutely insane. And I think that, he's pretty short. I think he ran like a 4.4 40-yard dash. This guy right here has a chance to make this roster. He doesn't have a great chance, but you look at the receivers we have on the team right now, there's a lot of locks. I mean, you look at Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, De'Ami Brown. Those guys are basically locks, and Cam Sims as well. That's 5. After that, though, Dax Milne is a possibility. We kept 8 receivers last year, so we'll probably keep 6 or 7 this year. So Jaquez Ezzard and the other guy we signed, they have a chance to make this roster as that last receiver. I feel like undrafted free agent receivers sometimes make the team. I mean, Steven Sims made the team a couple years ago for us, so I think Jaquez Ezzard has that big playability. He's not super fast, but he's pretty quick. 4.43, I believe, was his 40 time, so they could probably use him in a bunch of different ways, and maybe he could punt return for him. Like, if they don't want to have Jahan Dotson back there because he's a first round pick, they don't want to get him hurt, you go ahead and maybe put Jaquez Ezzard out there. I mean, if he's averaging 27 yards per catch, I mean, he can probably be a pretty good punt returner, so he definitely intrigues me. I mean, basically 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. I don't care where in the country you're playing. If it's D1 football, I mean, that is pretty impressive right there. 27 yards per reception. I mean, I don't know who else in this. I don't think anyone else in this draft averaged 27 yards per catch. So definitely add something that not a lot of people, have. And, a lot of these guys that you're getting in the 6th, 7th, and then undrafted free agents, they don't have elite traits. But this is, I mean, I guess it's not a trait, but like this is an elite skill to have, the big playability, 27 yards per reception. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So he is a guy that definitely intrigues me for sure. Already talked about Josh Drayden. He's not a guy that intrigues me, but just had to have that tweet out there. Curtis Hodges intrigues me a little bit, partly because I could actually find some information on him. This guy, Adam Brenneman, says Curtis Hodges has a chance to be a legitimate tight end 1 in the NFL. His movement skills are ridiculous given his massive 6'7" frame, elite body control, ability to make plays after the catch, strength in traffic, ability to go up and get the ball. Someone is getting a late steal. So I don't know about all that. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be a tight end 1 in this league. I mean, maybe, who knows, but he's undrafted for a reason. But maybe he has a chance to make the back end of the roster. I don't know if he can, because you already got, Logan Thomas, who's a lock to make the roster. Even if he starts the season out, he's not going to start on PUP. He'll be out for a few weeks at most, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. He won't be on PUP, so he's going to be on the roster. John Bates is a lock, and then Cole Turner, very likely a lock. So that's 3 right there. And so he's going to have to beat out Sammis Reyes, who has some potential, already a pretty good blocking tight end. You do not keep 5 tight ends on an NFL roster. You keep 3, maybe 4. So they already have Logan Thomas, John Bates, Cole Turner. So that already is a lot. And then you have Sammis Reyes. So he could make the roster. Who knows? Again, a lot of these guys right here will be on the practice squad. And that's why I think signing these undrafted free agents are great, because, you want on your practice squad some guys that have potential, some guys that you can develop so that eventually you can take them off the practice squad, put them on your roster, and, they can make an impact. If you sign, 3rd, 4th year players, at that point to your practice squad, they don't really have that much to add in terms of upside. But these undrafted free agents, like if you're signing 15 of them, a couple of them are going to end up being NFL players, like going to be players on a 53-man roster, and some of them might even be starters in this league. So, I think it's a great strategy bringing like 15 guys. They're not all going to make the roster. Most of them will make the practice squad. A couple might not even make the practice squad. Like out of these 15 or so guys, maybe 2 or 3 will make the 53-man roster, and then probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 guys won't make the practice squad. The rest of them will be on the practice squad. So he's a former wide receiver, now a tight end, and he only look at those games played, like not many games played. 6 games, and then 2 games, and then 3 games, and then 2, and then 8 games. But in the this season, in 8 games, he had 20 catches for 374 yards, 19 yards per catch, and 2 touchdowns. So pretty quick. He's 6'7", former wide receiver, and just has dealt with a lot of injuries. So maybe if he can stay healthy, he can contribute for the Washington Commanders on the practice squad, and maybe eventually on an NFL roster. I just don't see a great path for him to make this roster. Let's see. Other guy, Devin Taylor, just some more information about him. Nothing much, but 6'1", 200 pounds, third team All-MAC last fall, maybe possible Buffalo nickel, but these DBs have a chance just because we don't have great depth, but like Christian Holmes is going to have a big leg up on these guys because he was a draft pick, but I guess it's not going to be that much of a leg up just because it's a 7th round pick versus an undrafted free agent. But if it was like a 5th round pick, then you definitely have an advantage. But maybe these DBs, some of them have a chance to make the roster. Devontae Cross, safety out of UVA, he definitely is an intriguing guy for sure. Played 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 21. So a lot of these guys played 5 years in college, was a former QB and wide receiver. 2019 had a pretty good year, played in 14 games, had 60 total tackles, a sack, 2 interceptions, returned for 87 yards. Last couple years, not as great, but still pretty solid. 10 games, 30 tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and had an interception this past year. So he's another guy, maybe possible Buffalo nickel. Let's see what is 6'2", 215. And again, you throw the term Buffalo nickel out there a lot. They need a guy that can play that role, big nickel, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know about these undrafted free agents being able to play that role. Cameron Curl did in his rookie year, but he was a 7th round pick. But like not all these guys are Cameron Curl. That was one of the steals of the draft, Cameron Curl in the 7th round. He's one of the better safeties in the league. You got him in the 7th round. That's not going to happen a lot of these times. These guys are going to be lucky to even make an NFL roster for us. But he has a chance for sure. And one of the most intriguing guys is quarterback Cole Kelley from Southern Louisiana. And this past year threw for over 5,000 yards, 44 passing touchdowns, 500 rushing yards, and 16 touchdowns. A total of 60 touchdowns if you include the rushing and passing. That is insane. 6'7". I believe his completion percentage was insane as well. A lot of people had him as a pretty, good prospect. Like I think a decent amount of people thought he would get drafted. So definitely an intriguing guy. This is the perfect practice squad quarterback in my opinion. You already have 3 guys that are basically locks to make the roster at the quarterback position in, Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke, and Sam Howell. But Cole Kelley would be a solid guy to have on your practice squad. Like I think as long as he does everything well, he will make the practice squad unless, he lights it up in the preseason and someone else takes him. But I think this is a solid signing, and I like the strategy of throwing a lot of darts because these guys, some of them will end up being solid football players in the NFL, and you're getting a chance at 15 guys, a lot of guys for sure. So I think it's a good strategy. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And maybe if you guys want, I'll go into depth on a few more players if you really, really want me to. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.